a Swedish 5-goal thrashing shakes Tunisia. At Monterrey Stadium in Mexico, in front of more than 50,000 spectators, Tunisia began its 2026 World Cup campaign with a scenario no Tunisian fan would have wanted to witness. A 5-1 defeat, a heavy result, and a shocking one. But anyone who watched the match from the first minute to the last knows the story was bigger than just conceding 5 goals. Because Tunisia finished the game as the team with more possession. 51% possession, 331 passes. Yet despite that, they walked away having conceded 5 goals. So how did that happen? And before we dive into the details of this difficult night, we need to remember just how important this match was in the first place. Just a few hours before kickoff, the Netherlands and Japan had drawn 2-2. That meant the group had opened up very early, and whichever team won the match between Tunisia and Sweden would be the biggest beneficiary of the opening round. Sweden knew that. Tunisia knew it too. That's why, as soon as Argentine referee Yael Falcón Perez blew the whistle to start the match, each team stepped onto the field with a clear game plan. Sweden coach Graham Potter wanted his team to play direct football, as few passes as possible, the quickest route possible to goal. Meanwhile, Tunisia coach Issam Chergi relied on possession, building from the back, and trying to control the midfield. From the very first minutes, the difference between the two approaches became obvious. Tunisia had the ball, but Sweden looked more dangerous, and that one sentence might summarize the entire match. In just the 7th minute, the first shock arrived. Yassine Ayari opened the scoring for Sweden. The player of Tunisian descent made his mark with virtually the first real chance of the game, and Sweden took a 1-0 lead, a very early goal. And every coach in the world knows the value of an early goal in a major tournament like the World Cup. Because a goal like that changes the entire shape of the match. And that's exactly what happened. Tunisia suddenly had to attack, and Sweden became even more comfortable playing its preferred style, a disciplined defensive setup, and attacking the spaces on the counter. That's where the first major problem for Tunisia began to appear. The possession was there, but the real danger wasn't. Tunisia could reach the final third, but the final decision was missing, the final pass was missing, and the final touch was missing. Sweden, on the other hand, looked dangerous every time they got near Tunisia's penalty area. You always felt a genuine chance could come from it. As the game went on, Alexander Isak began to impose himself on the match. His movement was extremely difficult for Tunisia's defense to handle. He constantly dragged defenders out of position. Then, in the 30th minute, came the second blow, a quick, well-organized attack, and Isak finished it off with another goal, 2-0 to Sweden. At that point, Tunisian fans started to feel that the match might be slipping away early. But credit must be given to the Tunisian team. They didn't give up. They kept trying. They kept searching for a goal to bring them back into the contest. And just before halftime, Omar Rekik managed to reduce the deficit, 2-1, a hugely important goal, because that goal brought life back into the match and brought hope back to Tunisia. And it made everyone watching believe that the second half could be different. By the end of the first 45 minutes, the scoreboard read 2-1, but the numbers were telling a different story. Sweden had reached the goal more easily, and they looked far more comfortable executing their game plan. Tunisia, meanwhile, was still searching for solutions. At the start of the second half, Tunisia enjoyed its best spell of the match. More possession, higher pressing, and greater attempts to regain control. But this is where the truth that explained everything that followed became clear. Tunisia had the ball, but they weren't creating chances. And that's a very important point, because after the final whistle, Tunisia's expected goals and XG stood at just 0.29, a shocking number. It means that over the course of the entire 90 minutes, the chances Tunisia created were extremely limited. By contrast, Sweden finished with 1.37 xg, despite having less possession, and that perfectly illustrates the difference between possession and threat. There's a big difference between having the ball and actually doing something with it. Then, in the 59th minute, came the moment that changed the entire match. Viktor Gyökeres scored Sweden's third goal. And in my opinion, it was the most important goal of the game. Why? Because Tunisia was still alive in the match at that point. They still had hope, and a single goal could have changed everything. But the third goal killed Tunisia's momentum and restored Sweden's 2-goal advantage. From that moment on, we started watching a completely different game. Tunisia pushed forward more, left more space behind, and took greater risks, while Sweden began exploiting those spaces spaces as effectively as possible. And here, we have to stop and look at one of the most important statistics of the match. Tunisia finished the entire game with zero big chances created. Zero. Despite having 51% possession, despite completing 331 passes, and despite desperately needing to get back into the game. Meanwhile, Sweden created 5 clear-cut chances, and that statistic explains the result better than anything else. Sweden didn't need to dominate possession. Sweden just needed to reach the goal, and that was enough. As the match entered its final 15 minutes, the physical and mental gap between the two teams became more noticeable. Sweden's substitutions made an immediate impact. Anthony Elanga added tremendous pace, and Mattias Svanberg brought fresh energy to the midfield. Then, in the 84th minute, Svanberg scored Sweden's 4th goal. At that point, the match was effectively over. The Tunisian players lost hope, and Sweden began playing with even greater confidence, enjoying the game. Then, in stoppage time, Yassine Ayari made his mark once again. He scored the 5th goal and his 2nd personal goal of the match, capping off an extraordinary night in every sense of the word. And if we look at Ayari's numbers, it becomes clear why he was the undisputed man of the match. 2 goals, 2 assists, and the highest match rating of anyone on the field, 8.9. That means he was directly involved in 4 of Sweden's 5 goals, a remarkable number in a World Cup match. As for Viktor Gyökeres, although he scored only 1 goal, it was arguably the most important goal of the game, the goal that broke the match wide open. And for me, the unsung hero was Mattias Svanberg, because his 4th goal completely sealed the outcome before the 5th arrived. On the Tunisian side, Mohamed Ali Ben Romdane was one of the team's better performers despite the result. And Ali Abdi put in a tremendous effort. But the problem wasn't about individual players. The problem was the nature of the match itself. Tunisia had possession, but they couldn't turn that possession into danger. Sweden did exactly the opposite. And perhaps the most shocking number of the entire match was 0.29, Tunisia's XG, a number that summarizes a complete attacking crisis across 90 minutes. So what does this result mean? For Sweden, it means they emerge as the biggest winner of the opening round, 3 points, a +4 goal difference, and top spot in the group after the draw between the Netherlands and Japan. As for Tunisia, they have put themselves under enormous pressure because they didn't just lose 3 points. They also suffered a heavy defeat that could come back to haunt them on goal difference when the final round arrives. And now, any further setback could drag the Tunisian national team into a very complicated qualification scenario. In the end, Sweden didn't win because they had more possession, nor because they completed more passes. Sweden won because they knew exactly when to attack, and how to exploit every space and every opportunity. Tunisia, meanwhile, left Monterrey with a harsh lesson. At the World Cup, possession alone does not win matches, and the chances you waste today can turn into a 5-goal defeat before you even realize it. Between one team that knew how to capitalize on every moment of the match and another that had the ball without ever truly threatening. The result was a Swedish 5-goal thrashing that shook Tunisia in the opening match of their 2026 World Cup campaign.